Topic 8.2, Traversing 2D Arrays. In this lesson, we will discuss how to access each element stored in a 2D array. This is also known as traversing a 2D array. Nested iteration statements are used to traverse and access all elements in a 2D array. Since 2D arrays are stored as arrays within arrays, the way 2D arrays are traversed using for loops and enhanced for loops is similar to 1D array objects. Nested iteration statements can be written to traverse a 2D array in row major order or column major order. The outer loop of a nested enhanced for loop used to traverse a 2D array traverses the rows. Therefore, the enhanced for loop variable must be the type of each row, which is a 1D array. The inner loop traverses a single row. Therefore, the inner enhanced for loop variable must be the same type as the elements stored in the 1D array. We can traverse an entire 2D array by using a nested loop, a loop inside a loop. What do you notice about the boundaries in the outer and inner loop? The outer for loop iterates through each array in the 2D array, while the inner for loop iterates through each value in the current array. If we switch the placement of the row and column when accessing the gradebook, this will change the way that the 2D array is traversed. With the switch, the outer loop, row, now represents the column, and the inner loop, column, represents the row. As the column variable iterates, it moves through each row value while the variable row stays on the same column value. It's important to note that Java traverses more efficiently using the row major ordering. We can also write 2D array traversals using enhanced for loops. The outer loop of the enhanced loop needs to be an array data type so as to access each array within the 2D array. The inner loop needs to be the data type of the element of the array that is being accessed. In this case, because the 2D array stores integer values, the inner loop should be initialized to an integer value. When applying sequential or linear search algorithms to 2D arrays, each row must be accessed, then sequential linear search applied to each row of a 2D array. Just as arrays use linear search to find elements, 2D arrays can also use linear search to find values. Here is the general algorithm for searching a 2D array. In the case of 2D arrays, each row needs to be searched individually. We can see that the outer loop simply accesses each individual row of the 2D array, while the inner loop is applying the search to the array. If the item is not found in any of the arrays, then the return value indicating that the key cannot be found should be placed outside of both for loops. This is to ensure that this only returns if none of the arrays in the 2D array contain that particular value. All standard 1D array algorithms can be applied to 2D array objects. We mentioned how arrays and 2D arrays are similar. Pause to review this table. Just like arrays, we can traverse through mathematical computations. We can do so by initializing a value, like sum, before the nested for loops, and then performing calculations on the array values within the inner for loop, so that all values in the 2D array are added to the final calculation. We can then report results after the nested loop is finished executing. If we want to determine if elements have a particular property, we can initialize a tracker value before the nested for loop traversal, and then conditionally check for that tracker while traversing the array. If we want to make alterations to the list by reversing the order or shifting the elements, the general format requires that we create a new 2D array that will then hold the values in the order that we would like to arrange them. Each iteration through the initial array will add a value from the initial array to the altered array. The 8.2 Daily Video 1 walks through how to use nested loops to traverse and access elements in 2D arrays. Daily Video 2 walks through how to traverse 2D arrays in row major order versus column major order. And Daily Video 3 walks through common 2D array algorithms in more detail.